March 5th, 2026 meeting of the Kenton County Planning Commission to order. If you all stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You remain standing for our invocation.
As we, the members of this commission, gather here today, we ask that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render service to our fellow citizens and to our community. Let us continue to strive to make a better world by always keeping in mind the enduring values of life, and let us exert our efforts in those areas upon which future generations may build with confidence.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Mr. Smith, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Armbruster, Commissioner Baumgarten, Commissioner Burling, Commissioner Bridges,
Present. Yeah.
Commissioner Darble. Here. Commissioner DeAngelis.
Here.
Commissioner Dickey.
Here.
Commissioner Dunham.
Here.
Commissioner Flem.
Here.
Commissioner France.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidrich.
Here.
Commissioner Herman.
Here.
Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan.
Present.
Commissioner Simpson. Here. Commissioner Sketch.
Here.
Commissioner Snyder.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn. Commissioner Whitman.
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to read for you all real quickly our public hearing procedures for this evening. Let's see, a few things here. You'll notice that there are two exits from the room. There's the door that you came in, and there's also an emergency exit door to your all's right in that alcove. Under normal circumstances, please leave out the door that you came through. In the event of an emergency, please use whichever exit is closest. There's the staircase located just outside the exit doors to the first floor. Restrooms are located outside the main doors to your left. Food and drinks are not permitted in the public section of the room. And please turn off your cell phone or set it to vibrate so as to not interrupt the proceedings. If you wish to speak on a matter, please make sure that you have signed up on that back table there. There's a sign-in sheet for each matter that we're going to hear this evening. Make sure you've signed up for the right one. If you've signed up, you do not have to speak, but if you're not signed up, you cannot speak. So if we call your name and you decide you don't need to speak because somebody else is carried the comments that you would like to make, and you can just say, I'll take a pass. Please don't repeat the same things over and over again. It really doesn't help matters. You can simply just say, I agree with the comments that have previously been made about a certain topic. Let's see, and then when I call your name, if you're signed up to speak, please come forward to the lectern. State your name and your address for the record. This is being recorded, and we need to get good audio of you. So, thank you. All right, let's review this month's agenda. Commissioners, you have the agenda in front of you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as it stands.
Second.
First by Commissioner Snyder, second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. You have the January 6th, 2026 meeting minutes in front of you. Any comments, corrections? Nope. If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as it stands.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first by Commissioner Snyder, and a second by Commissioner Martin. Mr. Smith, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson? Yes. Commissioner Sketch?
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman?
Abstain.
Commissioner Bridges?
Yes.
Commissioner Darble?
Yes.
Commissioner DeAngelis?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenton.
Yes.
Commissioner Flynn.
Yes.
Commissioner France.
Yes.
Commissioner Hardwick.
Abstain?
Commissioner Berman.
Yes.
Commissioner James.
Yes.
I believe I've got everybody. Did I miss anybody? No, good.
All right.
You're on.
Great, thank you. You have the report of receipts and expenditures in front of you. Any questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Are we doing both December
We can combine those.
and Fine.
Yep, yes, we'll do those combined.
Motion to approve the receipts and expenditures for December and January.
Second.
Second. We have first by Commissioner Snyder, second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. You have a report of last month's actions by staff. Any questions? Report of last month's actions by our legislative bodies. Any questions? All right, hearing none. This moves us into our public hearing section of the meeting tonight. Our first item is file number PC-26-0001-MA, Kenton County map. The applicant is Joseph Reddick on behalf of James and Kathy Reddick. The location is 1351 Bramlage Road, two portions totaling approximately 1.78 acres of an existing flag lot with a total area of approximately 22.28 acres located on the south side of Bramlage Road, approximately 1,590 feet west of Wilson Road, and approximately 3,170 feet east of Banquet Road in unincorporated Kenton County. The request is a proposed map amendment to the Kenton County zoning ordinance changing the described area from R1B, Residential 1B zone, to A2, Agricultural 2 zone. Approximately 92% of the flag lot is currently zoned A2, with the remainder being zoned R1B. The applicant is requesting to change two portions of the existing lot, including an approximately 0.19 acre portion of the flag stem and an approximately 1.59 acre portion along the eastern property line to A2 in order to bring the entire property under the A2 zone. Mr. Sheets.
Yep. Thank you. For the record, my name is Cody Sheets with PDS staff. As was stated, this is a proposed map amendment for two portions of an existing flag lot to change from R1B to A2, which is an agricultural zone. The site is located in the southern portion of the suburban sub-area of the comprehensive plan. The subject parcel is a 22.28 acre flag lot and contains a single-family home as well as agricultural uses. The property is accessed from Bramlage Drive via shared driveway. The yellow areas highlighted within the map are showing the two areas with this lot that are subject of their request. The majority of the site, approximately 92%, is currently zoned A2. The two areas highlighted in yellow are currently part of the R1B zone. The area within the flag stem represents an approximately 0.19 acre area, and the area along the eastern property line represents approximately 1.59 acres. The area to the east and north are zoned R1B, and the area to the west is zoned A2. The area to the south is zoned A1. The existing land use is representative of the zoning, which is mostly agriculture and open space with single-family residential as well. The story of this request can be told through its history. In 2006, the South Banklick Small Area Study was adopted as part of the comprehensive plan, which included this subject property. The recommendations for the area of this property was for single-family residential at a density of no more than one dwelling unit per acre. The plan stated that this recommendation was generally consistent with the existing zoning. Later in 2006, a text amendment was adopted to add the A2 zone to the Kenton County zoning ordinance. The A2 zone permitted the same uses as the A1 zone with additional provisions to allow for conservation subdivisions. There was then a subsequent map amendment to change 1,900 acres, which included the entirety of this property, to the new A2 zone. This map amendment was ultimately approved, but with a condition that any areas that were currently zoned RE or R1B would not be included in the change. To further explain this, the map on the left is the 2006 map amendment as requested at the time, which included the entire subject lot, which is highlighted in yellow. The final decision for the map amendment included a condition that any area that was zoned RE or RRE or R1B must not be included in the proposed A2 zone area. The map on the right, which is from the South Banklick Small Area Study, shows the then existing zoning. The area in green was agricultural, and the area in yellow was residential. The breakout map shows where the subject property is located, which is within the red circle. Here we have a map which compares the 2006 existing zoning map against the current existing zoning map. You can see the same curved pattern to the zoning line that separates the A2 from the R1B zone, and that is highlighted in red. So to the best of our knowledge, it appears that the zoning line was the same in 2006 as it is today. And because of the condition, these two portions of the subject site remained in the R1B zone. The R1B zone has a minimum lot size of half an acre. It permits single-family residential uses but does not permit agricultural uses. The A2 zone permits agricultural uses as well as single-family residential. It also permits a handful of other uses such as conservation subdivisions, mobile homes, roadside stands, greenhouses, bed and breakfasts, and owner-occupied short-term rentals. The minimum size of that zone is 1 acre. These are maps which were submitted by the applicant to show the request in more detail. The entire flag lot is outlined in yellow, and the zoning boundary line is the black and white dashed line on the map. The map on the left shows the 0.19 acre that makes up the majority of the flag stem. The map in the center shows the 1.59 acres section along the eastern property line. And the map on the far right shows both of these sections that make up the request. Bramlage Road and Wilson Road are classified as local streets. There are no sidewalks along either side of Bramlage Road, and Tank does not operate any surface routes. Staff did conduct a full review of the 2024 Kenton County Comprehensive Plan, and we do find areas of consistency. Although located within the suburban sub-area, the proposed map amendment will help to preserve the viability of the rural heritage of southern Kenton County by removing barriers to support local agricultural operations, and will help to focus on conservation priorities within the largely agricultural area. Additionally, bringing the entire property, especially the frontage within the flag stem, into the agricultural zone will allow at least one additional continuous flag, which will allow for additional housing opportunities. The proposed map amendment is consistent with the recommended land use, which calls for residential development at a density under 2 dwelling units per net acre. The requested A2 zone allows single-family residential at a density of 1 dwelling unit per net acre. The site does not contain any areas of DSA. There are some blue-line streams within the property, as well as a small pond. KRS 100 states that a map amendment must be in agreement with the comprehensive plan, or that the existing zoning classification is inappropriate, or that there have been major changes that were not anticipated in the adopted plan. So we do find the proposed map amendment to be generally consistent with the adopted plan. It would bring the entire property under 1 zoning district, which will help to remove potential barriers to additional agricultural uses as well as development. And I'd be more than happy to take any questions.
All right, any questions for Mr. Sheets?
I just have one. I know you can't answer this question, but why was that zone line ever placed there in the beginning?
We unfortunately don't really have a good answer. Yeah, just kind of seemed.
Can you have one of the conditions you can make it because the zoning is stupid?
I would defer to legal on that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Sketch. Anybody else? All right, I have 2 people signed up to speak. Thank you, Mr. Sheets. 2 people signed up to speak on this matter, Joey Reddick, who's our applicant, and Ben Buck. Mr. Reddick? You'll state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Joe Reddick. I live on 1351 Bramlage Road. I think everything was pretty well stated pretty clearly If you guys have any questions or comments, I'm totally here to answer anything.
Any questions for our applicant? Nope, thank you. Mr. Buck?
Everything said.
Terrific. Mr. Buck's indicated that he does not need to speak. All right, that's all we have signed up. We can go ahead and recess the public hearing for discussion among commissioners. Just good cleanup matter. Glad it got caught and getting fixed. We'll return to the public hearing. Any clarifications needed for staff or applicant? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and we will entertain a motion. This is in unincorporated Kenton County. Our rep is not here this evening. Would somebody like to make a motion on this? All right, Commissioner Darple.
I make a motion, we approve the recommendation to the unincorporated Kenton County for file number PC 260001-MA at Bramlage Road for the two portions to bring them back into compliance and make that zone change.
Second.
All right, first by Commissioner Darple, second by Commissioner Ryan. Mr. Smith, any discussion? Mr. Smith, would you call the roll?
Certainly. Let's see, Commissioner Darple
Yes.
and Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sketch,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wickman,
Yes.
Commissioner Baumgartner,
Yes.
Commissioner Bridges,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner DeAngelis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dickey,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunham,
Yes.
Commissioner Flem, Commissioner France,
Yes.
Commissioner Heydrich,
Yes.
Commissioner Herman,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
and it is approved.
All right. It's been approved. This will now go to fiscal court for them to take action on with our recommendation for approval. All right. Thanks, Mr. Reddick. Okay, next item is file number PC-26-0002-MA, Independence Map. The applicant is Fisher Homes per Amanda Webb on behalf of Dale Turpey. The location is 4979 Oliver Road, an area of approximately 27.98 acres located on the west side of Oliver Road and on the east side of Kentucky 17, with Centennial Boulevard to the southwest and McCollum Pike to the north, approximately 0.75 miles south of McCollum Pike. The request is a proposed map amendment, concept development plan to the independent zoning ordinance, changing the described property from R-RE residential rural estate zone to PUD planned unit development zone. Summary is the applicant proposes 178 total dwelling units, including 66 two-family dwellings and 112 multifamily condominium dwellings at a density of 7.2 dwelling units per net acre. The development also includes proposed public streets with access onto Kentucky 17, off-street parking spaces, a detention basin, and 38.5% open space. Mr. Vidakovich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening. For the record, my name is Andy Vidakovich with staff. As the chair just stated, this is a proposed map amendment from residential rural estate to a planned unit development for 178 dwelling units. The site in question is located on the east side of Kentucky 17 within the suburban sub-area. It is north of Kentucky 536. The entire site is approximately 34 acres and is located on Kentucky 17. The request, excuse me, the site is located between Oliver Road and Kentucky 17. So Oliver Road goes down the eastern side of the site. The Kentucky 17 goes down the western side of the site. The site itself consists primarily of heavily wooded area. There is an existing single-family home on the site that has access off of Oliver Road. When Kentucky 17 was redone, there was a location for a curb cut also put in, at which we will be discussing here in a few minutes. In 2007, the independent small area study was adopted into the comprehensive plan. This site was a part of that small area study, and we will be discussing that in more detail in a few minutes. So, as was mentioned, the site is zoned residential rural estate, as well as areas to the south of the site. Surrounding zonings also include conventional subdivision and large lot subdivision zoning to the east, north, and west of the site. The site is identified for single-family residential uses as well as for vacant and agricultural uses. The surrounding area consists of similar uses. So the intent of the rural estate zone is to, just like it sounds, allow for rural development in areas that are suitable for residential development. The minimum lot area for the rural estate zone is 1 acre. Therefore, the density obviously is 1 dwelling unit per net acre. The purpose of a planned unit development is to allow flexibility in development. In exchange for that flexibility, there are minimum requirements for open space and recreational features. It is also intended to promote clustering of development in order to preserve the more sensitive natural areas of the individual sites. So again, the planned unit development zone is intended to allow for flexibility. Basically, all of the development standards, so things like the height, setbacks, landscaping, character standards, things like that, are all determined based on the information the applicant is submitting to us. In exchange for that flexibility, there is a requirement for a certain amount of open space that is readily accessible and usable to residents. So this is the submitted development plan. Again, there are 178 total dwelling units, which amounts to 7.2 dwelling units per net acre. There are 66 paired patio homes, which are highlighted in that light orange color. And then there are 112 condominiums on the project, which are highlighted there in the blue color. So the paired patio homes will be on 3,500 square foot lots along with the associated setback requirements. And the condominiums will be a minimum of 20 feet apart with a minimum setback around the perimeter of 30 feet and a maximum height of 40 feet. So there are a number of streets. I'm just going to go through this a little bit. So streets A and D, which you see there on the screen, including a cul-de-sac and the primary entrance, those streets are primarily serving the patio homes, those paired patio homes. The streets are going to be 50-foot right-of-ways with 25-foot pavement. There will be a tree lawn, a 4-foot tree lawn along both sides, and sidewalks. As stated, the western part of Street A will be the main entrance to the site to the development, which will come from that access point off of 17. This entrance will be a boulevard entrance with a 12-foot landscape median between the lanes. Streets G and E, which are now on the screen, serve both the condominium areas and are 23-foot right-of-ways with 22 feet of pavement and sidewalks on both sides. These streets also show bump out turnarounds near their terminuses that you can see here. So there's going to be a turnaround located at the end of Street G and a turnaround located, if I can get my mouse there, at the end of Street F. The streets B and C, which are coming up now, serve both the condominiums, and Street C also serves the paired patios. There will be a 26-foot right-of-way with a 25 feet of pavement and a 4-foot sidewalk. Street C will also stub into the property to the south to allow for a continuation, a continuous connection to the south when development occurs in that area. Off-street parking will include garage and driveway spaces, as well as approximately 124 off-street parking spaces, which you see highlighted here in that tannish color. So in addition to the development plan, the applicant submitted a development narrative. That development narrative states that landscaping will be provided throughout the development. There will also be a landscape median as we discussed at the main entrance. There will be a proposed monument sign at the main entrance. And the open space amount accounts for 38.5% of the site, which is approximately 11 acres of the site will remain open space. There will be interconnected sidewalk systems used to connect all of the open spaces. However, specific amenities were not identified on the plan, but may include seating areas as well as walking trails. And the open space will be maintained by a homeowners association. These are examples provided by the applicant of the paired patio product. These will be 2 to 3 bedrooms, will range from approximately 1,250 square feet to 2,195 square feet, with a couple of different options for layouts. And then this is an example of the condominium product that the applicant has provided for us. These in general are a little bit smaller in floor area, from 1,100 square feet to about 1,600 square feet. And these will be 2-bedroom units. There will be available garage parking with each unit, and each unit will have individual entry. So the applicant submitted projected prices for this development. The paired patios are projected to be within $290,000 to $320,000, and the condominiums will be within approximately $215,000 to $280,000. So staff conducted a full review of the comprehensive plan. We do find areas of consistency, specifically the goals and objectives, the suburban, sub-area, and housing. This development will provide housing for all generations in close proximity to employment centers and existing retail services that can enhance suburban living. Also, providing a street stub to the south will promote connectivity in between future developments, and the internal street system will be providing for pedestrian connectivity as well. In addition to those areas of consistency, staff also finds some areas of inconsistency as well. Again, the goals and objectives, the mobility, and the housing. However, in regard to these sections, the proposed development will not be providing a type of housing that can be considered income aligned. The proposed price points indicate that this development will provide a housing type that has been identified as being in surplus in the county. Additionally, the proposed development will not be providing sidewalk connectivity along Kentucky 17 or Oliver Road, which is a requirement of the ordinance. The comprehensive plan does state that the Planning Commission can consider increasing density if development is providing for income-aligned housing. And just to show you where this is is falling within Kenton County's housing demand analysis, this is the table that was provided by the Northern Kentucky Area Development District. The blue cells denote a deficit, and then the red cells denote a surplus. And based on staff's analysis and the information provided by the applicant, you can see where these products are falling within this table. So the proposed development is also not consistent with the recommended land use map. The recommended land use map identifies the site for 2.1 to 4 dwelling units per net acre. And again, this is 7.2 dwelling units per net acre. As I mentioned earlier, this is also part of the independent small area study. The property within that study was identified for low density single family residential development. The study states that residential land uses within these areas identified for low density residential should maintain the current density identified under the existing zoning, which again, as a reminder, is 1 dwelling unit per net acre. The small area studies does state that a moderate density increase could be granted if there's a conservation style development, but up to only a 10% increase in density. And again, we're at 1% under the current zoning, and the applicant's asking for 7.2%. So that's well above a 10% increase. Kentucky 17 is an arterial street. Oliver Road is a local street. There are currently no sidewalks located along either street, and Tank does not operate in this area of the county. The site does not contain any developmentally sensitive area. There are blue line streams on the site, and there's also a floodway along the eastern portion of the site as well. So the state statutes were covered in the previous presentation, but just to reiterate that in order to grant a map amendment must either be in agreement with the comprehensive plan, or if it's not in agreement with the comprehensive plan, that there have been changes of an economic, physical, or social nature, or that the existing zoning is inappropriate and the proposed zoning is appropriate. So staff is giving this an unfavorable recommendation. Staff finds that this is generally inconsistent with the comprehensive plan as well as the independent small area study. Although the development will provide for new housing options, the proposed density is far exceeding what is recommended in the comprehensive plan, as well as the recommendations of the independent small area study, without providing a housing type that can be considered income aligned. The submitted development plan does meet the minimum requirements of the independent zoning ordinance. However, if this is approved, the applicant will need to provide for sidewalks along both Kentucky 17 and Oliver Road, as well as details about what the amenities are within the open space. Also, again, if this is approved, we will need additional information regarding landscaping, lighting, stream of water quality buffers, and signage. Finally, again, if this is approved, the submitted development must meet the minimum requirements of the subdivision regulations. This includes the T-type turnarounds at the dead ends. That's currently not geometry that's allowed under the subdivision regulations. I mentioned the sidewalks, land disturbance permits, and also a traffic impact study, which the scoping of which will be decided by KYTC, PDS, and the city. So I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions for Mr. Vidakovich? Yes.
So, Andy, did I understand you right that the PUD designation allows a maximum of 10% density increase over the existing zone density?
No, not exactly. So the PUD allows for like the clustering of uses in exchange for the open space. It was the independent small area study that actually stated that if there's the conservation type of development, that a 10% increase in density could be considered.
Okay. I mean, a 10% of 2.1 only gets you to 2.3. I mean,
Right.
So I don't know, that seems like a pretty low number, but on the other hand, 2.1 or actually the existing is 1, because 7.2 is substantial, so, okay, I just wasn't sure where that 10% came from. It was an independent small area study.
Right.
Any other questions?
So I see that a PUD is to encourage the preservation and enhancement of natural amenities. Looking at this site plan, do we know how much of the actual current natural amenities will be saved? So there's a lot of site clearing and grading occurring.
Sure. So if I could direct your attention to the site plan on the screen. So basically anywhere that you're not seeing the lots or a street is going to be preserved as open space, which based on the applicant's numbers is about 38% of the site.
So that's preserved as open space. But
Right.
it'll still be, per the grading, it'll still be clear open space, right? So not actually preserving the current natural space.
Yeah, you know, at this point, we don't really know what the extent of the disturbed limits are going to be for the development. But that is possible that, like, at least initially during the development phase, that some of that's going to have to be cleared away.
Any other questions?
So
Yeah, Mr.
is
Francis.
the detention pond allowed to be considered part of the open space? 'Cause that's a big chunk of what's in the
Right.
grade on there.
It can be, if something is incorporated into it to make it sort of like a usable open space. So if there's like,
So you
if it's
put
part of like.
benches around it, or, I mean, it has to be something that allows passive recreation.
Right. Right, so the answer is, it can be, but we don't have information right now.
Okay. Question? Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Bridges.
So Andy, on your income aligned housing graph, so there's a lot of blue that's in deficit, and this is all within the area, the blocks that we don't need, according to the study.
That's correct.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Let's see, I have, and I apologize if I butcher names here. It's tough to read, and I apologize. Let's see, Sam Reese, I have you signed up for 4. Celia Glaza, against. Scott Whalen, against. Kimberly Twerpy, 4. Ken Holiday, 4. Benjamin Back, against. Jeannie Rohrkassi, against. Mike Willenbrink, Mike, 4. Against. Neutral?
With the applicant.
Okay, with the applicant. Kelly Jett is against. Jacob March Bishop, against. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Okay. All right, we will start with our applicant.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Webb. I'm here on behalf of Grand Communities and Fisher Homes. I'm here as behalf of the applicant. I just have a brief presentation I'd like to walk through with you guys. All right. So you guys are all very familiar with Fisher Homes. We build all over Kenton County, and this project would be similar. Has similar products to what we're already building, or building in Independence, as well as Covington and several other areas. So about Fisher Homes, we're founded here in Northern Kentucky. Our office is right over in Erlanger. We've been building since 1980. Greg and Henry are still very active in the company, and we just aim to continuously maintain a high customer satisfaction. I think most of our residents find that, and we see that all the way through through all of our customer scoring metrics. So with this, we also endure, really our mission is to build not only the best total home solution, but also a community as well. And that's kind of why I'm here tonight, just to kind of walk through this community. And it's not only about the homes, it's about the people that will live there in the future, our future residents, and the community. So as staff, I'll skip through this pretty quickly, but as staff mentioned, the site's totaling 34 acres, but we're here tonight just to talk about the west side of 17 and that just under 28 acre parcel of land. This site, I think I can go to the next slide. Right, let me go back. The site is north of where there's a future Publix going right down there on the corner. And then there's some additional development and whatnot going on in that area. So we're just north of that. And I'll get into that a little bit more in the land use slide. The site does have, I know Andy had mentioned there was a blue line stream on there. There is one larger stream on the east side near Oliver Road. And then there's also an ultra-fiber easement that runs kind of through the site as well. Other than that, it's kind of rolling topography. It is wooded, and there's a little bit of floodplain along that creek. So a little bit about our vision. So we have been looking at this parcel for quite a while now, over a year. We have met with staff with Independence, the City of Independence. We've met with staff here, PDS staff. We've met with some other stakeholders in the area that are looking at adjacent properties. And through that, we've worked with the property owner and came up with this plan. This plan is just over 7 units per acre. It's our paired patio and our condominium product. Both of those products are in Tuscany right now. We're very successful with those products. We find that a lot of people are really excited to buy and build with those products. They're a very popular product throughout northern Kentucky. We are planning to utilize the new opening in 17. And I think one thing that I'd like to point out, when we were looking at land use several years ago, even more recently, the parcel is RE. I'll totally admit to that, but it's also accessed off of Oliver Road. It was never accessed or looked at off of State Route 17, and I think that's a key item to this rezoning. We're not proposing to come off of Oliver Road. We're bringing all of our traffic onto 17, and there will be no access off of Oliver Road. If it were to be accessed off of Oliver Road, I would stand here and say, yes, maybe it should be RE, but that's not the case. There has been a change. We have access off of 17, and I think that that should be considered respectfully, just because that does kind of change the parcel dynamic altogether. Staff already went through the site data, so I'll skip over that. Talk a little bit more about the product. Like I had mentioned, it is our gallery condominium units. They're starting in the low 200s, and then we would expect to go all the way up through the high 200s. With this product, they are generally 2 bedrooms. They're targeting empty nesters, first-time home buyers. I think one thing about this, although it may not perfectly align with the housing study, it frees up some of that other product for people to move into our product, and then there's some additional price points available and freed up through that. These are just the areas. We fully expect the parcel to the south. It does have a higher density on it that's allowed, so we have kind of bordered our parcel with those gallery condominium units, and that's really why we did that. The interior of our site has our paired patio Wembley collection. These are generally ranch-style paired units. There is an option to add a loft on the upper part of the unit, and that would put it up to a 3-bedroom. But generally, it's a 2-story or a 1-story ranch paired unit. These are also targeted towards your empty nesters, your young professionals, and more of like maybe like a divorcee or people that are looking to downsize. Shows where those are located. And then our open space and amenities. We are proposing sidewalks throughout the entire community. We're proposing to have interconnected pathways that would connect and join each of the cul-de-sacs. We'd like to, there is a very nice stream corridor on the east side, and we'd like to have a pathway down through there. We will have seating areas, pocket seating, open spaces throughout, and one thing about Fisher is we do a lot of landscaping, so I would expect a lot of heavy landscaping in this area. There's an image of what we would propose our entry signage to look like, and of course, we're so early on in the process right now, we would work with staff on all of those items that Andy had noted, landscaping and entry monument signage and all of that. Touch on staff comments. So, like I mentioned before, yes, I understand our density does exceed what is allowed by PUD, but I do think that it's worth noting at that time now the Publix has came in, and now some of that commercial development will be pushing up north, and that commercial development has a density, I believe, of 7 to 14 units per acre on the south of our property. And so our thought was our property does touch that area. And no, it wasn't mentioned in the staff report, but we thought we were doing a good transition from that commercial side up to ours. And we also do feel strongly that we are still, although the price point maybe doesn't quite align, but we do feel like we are bringing diverse housing mix into Northern Kentucky, and that is a need of 2-bedroom housing. So owner occupied, owner, you know, fee simple 2-bedroom housing. And the sidewalk that's along Kentucky Route 17, we've met and discussed this with the city a little bit. We understand that there would be a sidewalk needed there, and we're open to that, but we're also open to looking at alternative options through our site, the site south of us, and working down towards the public site to kind of keep pedestrians off of 17 possibly. We're open to those. I think that was about it. And then I just also wanted to know, I know that there also would be sidewalks required along Oliver Road. It would be a very small portion, and we would work through that as well. I don't know if anybody has any questions for me. I'm happy to answer those. I just hope that maybe we could just look at the fact that now that we have a curb cut on 17 that wasn't there before, that maybe we could look at that as a reason for this, as justification for the additional density.
I have a question. So does either staff or you have like an aerial that I keep hearing about the site to the south having a density more aligned with what you have, but when I look at the staff report, it shows that to the south.
Let me go back a few
Yeah.
slides. I don't have a copy of the land use plan on my presentation, but I can show you.
I'm showing the current zoning to the south is RRE, 1 acre, 1 dwelling unit, maximum density. And then in the future land use map, it says to the south, it's residential R 2.1 to 4.0 dwelling units per net acre. I'm just trying to understand.
I thought I had a parcel.
Andy,
Yeah.
Andy, do you have the future land use in your favor? I thought you didn't have it.
Okay.
Okay, so while he's grabbing that, why don't we have
Yep.
other questions? So,
Okay, go ahead.
Who else has
Could
questions?
you,
Commissioner France?
Okay, so you're kind of talking up the open space and the amenities, but nothing is shown yet. I mean, you had one graphic being pulled up that I think you went through it kind of quick, but like a couple benches for subdivisions that's proposed for like 350 people. Don't see any pathways to get you down to the creek and then parallel to the creek or around the pond. It sounds good, but it doesn't seem like it's there yet.
Sure. So we're just in the early on stages, so we haven't gotten to the final development portion of that, which we would have at that point in time. But right now, we are proposing seating areas. For us, we really feel like our amenity is everything south of us. There's going to be grocery stores down there. We'll have connected trails down to that. We will have, and I know the city will definitely require us to make sure that we have a very thorough amenity plan. We're planning to have a trail that goes around the detention basin down along the creek, and those are things that we'll work out throughout the next stage of the process. But we'll definitely take that in mind with tonight's conversation as well.
Let's see, I think, was it Commissioner Whitman that I cut you off there? Commissioner Whitman.
So on the south side, you have one of your streets going to the property line.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, is there a further plan in coordination with the adjacent property owner, or your own plan, or another developer?
We have been working with another stakeholder on the location of that street. I cannot say that today, but there has been a lot of planning, and that location of that road is very specific.
And the street that appears to dead end to the north, that is what
Mhm.
I'm seeing there, it's just dead end?
Yes, that's correct. It dead ends right around the property line, and there's a decent amount of topography back there. There would be no development, no plan for us to go north.
Commissioner DeAngelis?
Do you have an HOA fee, like, established, or?
We do not have an HOA fee established yet, but there would be one, absolutely. We would have a condominium association on our gallery portion, and there would be a fee for that as well as the HOA fee for the paired patio sites.
And then for the purchase price range that you guys gave for the condos and the paired patios, were those not including any upgrades, like that's just base price?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Any other, Commissioner Bridges?
Is the curb cut off 17 there? I thought I heard you say you were gonna add that, but it's already there.
It's there today, yes, it's
So you're
there
not
today.
adding it, it's already there?
No, it's already there. It's recently, but I believe Andy mentioned even when they realigned the road, it was installed. Could I say one more thing? I just want
Sure.
to add to your comment about the HOA and condominium. One thing I didn't really touch on, with this product, it is what we call a lifestyle product. So like the condominium, of course, you don't have any maintenance fees or
Right.
yard fees, but our paired patio product is very similar. Your exterior maintenance is included in that fee. You have your snow pushing, and all of your yard maintenance is taken care of too by the HOA. So this entire community would be, all of the yard maintenance and open space maintenance would all be handled by the HOA.
Right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Sketch?
Yeah, I have a problem with the 22-foot street that's accessing those patio homes. I think that from street, I guess it's street B or D, down to street C, I think that section needs to be a 25-foot street. You're coming in with like a boulevard type thing, and then you're going to a 22-foot to get to the 25-foot. I know you got some condominiums along that street, but I think that's actually accessing those patio homes.
They are 25 feet.
Oh, the street that is coming,
Gonna be another traffic
the
light at
street,
17.
Mike?
Yeah, so,
The street or the right of way?
no, the street.
The street.
The street, so street, so on the screen, I can't see your cursor.
Could you state your name? and
Mike
question?
Willemrink, 209 Grandview Drive, Fort Mitchell, Kentucky.
Thank you.
All right, so the question about the back of curb to back of curb, this street here is 25.
Right.
This street here is 25. This street here is 25-foot back of curb to back curb. So that's your typical local street.
But I'm saying the street that's connecting those from north to south, I think that needs to be 25.
This
Yeah.
street here.
Right, from that point down all the way down. Since you're accessing, you're going from a 22-foot into a 25-foot. And I realize you got condominiums on there, but that's still, to me, that's an access. It
Yeah,
should
we-
be 25.
Not starting, we do have that at 25.
Okay.
So this street B on our plan from here to here is actually 25. The 23 actually is 22.
Yeah.
Is this
Just that,
right here.
okay.
And we did keep the 25 for the connection to the south there. So this was the 25, so that'd be your typical 25-foot.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Herb?
Andy, this might be for you, but for the
Well,
average,
I mean, is it for the applicant or not?
well, I'll ask the applicant, what's
Okay.
the average monthly fee on the HOA is gonna be?
That I do not know.
So is that factored into the average monthly cost on the reports that we have, that we're looking at?
No, it would not be, because we don't typically, Fisher Homes, we don't typically do our HOA fees until we're through all of our
So what is
planning.
your average today on something like this that you would have in Tuscany, for example?
I couldn't answer that right now.
$230
I,
a month.
Or the condos or patio?
for
Condos?
a condo, and then the paired patios are usually about the
But
same.
they have a pool.
But that's not including, there's another one that's a theater.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Ryan.
You said you've met with or talked to or conferred with the City of Independence. Did they have anything to say with the inconsistency with the land use and with their small area study and the conservation zone? This seems like what they have in place, this is totally a 180. Just curious if they had anything to input.
We did have meetings with them. I don't want to speak for the city, but after meeting with them, that was a few times how we ended up here. I would not have brought a plan that I didn't feel that they were supportive of before
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Andy, were you able to find something? Yeah. Just because we're in the applicant portion, when you pull it back up, if you could have the applicant kind of speak about it.
Okay.
Yeah, walk us through it.
So, it's still your portion, it's not my
Yeah.
portion to speak, so. I believe, and let me zoom in here if I can find my cursor here. I believe what is being discussed is, so you see the star represents where this property is located. The area directly to the southwest of this is that darker brown color. And yes, within the independent small area study, that is identified for high-density multifamily residential at a density of 7.1 to 30 dwelling units per net acre. Is that the area you're talking about? Okay.
That's the red section, Andy?
It's the, the brownish
Yeah.
red section to the left.
And then is purple, is that public?
That's correct, and that's mixed use.
What's directly below this star?
Directly below it is the same rural, single-family residential.
You don't happen to know when that zoning for the site to the south was established, do you?
The specific zoning, no. There haven't been any changes in at least several decades.
Okay. So I'm guessing probably the public site was that same probably zone, and then Publix had it rezoned.
Yeah, they had to
That-
rezone it to
that's why
their
it's
current zoning designation.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we make a comment on that?
It's still the applicant portion, so, let's see.
Again,
Mr.
Mike
Willenbrink.
Willenbrink.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate, and Andy, how did you get that cursor there?
What do you want me to do?
The little cursor there.
The cursor or the zoom in?
Zoom in and then the cursor if possible. And you can't get link GIS, can you?
I can. It's gonna take a minute.
Take-
Oh,
okay.
I don't think we can do the zoom in and the cursor at the same
Okay.
time.
So again, the site is that star, as Andy mentioned. This burnt orange, that is that high-density residential in that small area study. That was that 7.1 to 30 units. And just to give scale for, just on Link GIS, that orange area, that dark, or the brown, or whatever color on the screen that is, that's like a 53-acre area, just to give kind of scale, because it's kind of hard to give a parameter. So our site's at 28 acres. In the comprehensive plan, this orange area was a 53-acre area that was basically planned for 7.1 to 30 units per acre. Our proposed project's 7.2, very much on the low end of that density there. Just want to give some background on that. If we had Link GIS, I think you could see the bigger picture of the full future land use of I think in general, you want to see your density, right, closer to your arterial streets. You wouldn't want to see this kind of density further off of a main road, because then you're funneling that traffic through smaller streets to that. So I think that, as Amanda mentioned, that helps support the changes that have occurred. I think also it was mentioned about the Publix being at that corner. So that's the corner on the map. The black dashed is the roads, so that's Harris. So it's right on the corner, right where my cursor is. But you can see the expansion of that commercial there's more demand for that, I believe. For instance, if you go over where the Kroger's is in the red, that's all commercial. That was on old 17, right? So if this is new 17, you would envision that retailers, commercial, are going to want to see that kind of access, and they're going to want to expand. So I think Amanda mentioned the expansion of this purple mixed use, which includes obviously a mix of uses, commercial and some residential, and then this higher density residential. As it continues to the north, I think this black dashed line is Oliver Road. And to me, that's down in the valley, that's down by Fowler Creek. That is a very good physical demarc of where potentially you might want to see the higher density potentially stop from that road to the west towards 17 because of the access of 17. So just wanted to add a little more background there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was helpful. Thank you. While he's up, any other questions? Mr. Rombrink? Okay. All right. Let's see. I have also signed up to speak for Sam Reese. Nope, nothing. And Mike's already spoken. Let's see. And Mr. Holliday?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ken Holliday. I represent the sellers. I'm a commercial broker in this market for 41 years now. I've seen a few things. Just want to address the first kind of what was shown about why you could go against the comprehensive plan is material change in the economics, which the Publix, that was the game changer. So I think we can get over that anxiety maybe with the fact that, I mean, soon as that small study came out with the blue for Publix, et cetera, that in itself was the game changer. That's what triggered developers to show up and have interest in this area. My clients, the Turpees, bought this property pre-turn of the century. For the same reason maybe a lot of you in this room bought acreage, farmland, if you will. They're not farmers. They enjoyed the peace and quiet. Now they're going to enjoy shopping at Publix. But what that changed was their property value kept going up. We got good offers, and it's their American right to sell their property interests. I just don't want to be, I'm hearing some people here not for the project, and maybe I can just address a couple questions if I have another couple minutes. Let's see. I think some people would be concerned about schools with increased population, but you got 1 and 2 bedroom apartments.
We can't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
I just didn't know what was, what I want to suggest is that once the Publix changed, that set almost an expired version of that small town study. That small town study was even, the future land use was created before the Publix even showed up. But like I said, my clients, they're going to sell this and probably move even further south. I mean, we call that progress. Independence is a great place to live, from what I understand. I'm in crowded Edgewood. And that's why growth comes to great communities. And when you have a 4-lane boulevard, the 536 road study that's gonna be all improved over the next few years. It shouldn't fall in line of the argument of, well, we're worried about the density there. Again, Publix, in my opinion, that was the game changer that makes me make sense of that project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see, Kimberly Turpey, would you like to speak? You good? Okay. All right, so that is who we have signed up for 4, and then we do against, yeah. So Celia Glaza?
Celia Glaza on behalf of Ron and Cecilia Dennis, who live at 4975 Oliver Road, which is that white cutout surrounded by this development.
What is your relation?
They're my grandparents.
Okay.
I've spent a lot of time on this property.
Okay.
533. This is the number of new dwellings currently being built within Independence. These locations include the new Tullamore Estates, 3 minutes from this property, the Haven at Liberty Grove on 17, which is 4 minutes from this property, the townhomes included in the Downs of Nicholson, 5 minutes from here, and the new development that has just started on Harris at the end of Oliver, boasting, I think, 280 new homes. This number does not include independent builds and the continued growth within pre-existing subdivisions, such as on Independence Road, nor the villages of DeCourcy, just outside city limits, but also only 3 miles from this site. With the new proposal to change zoning to accommodate 178 new multifamily dwellings, the heart of Independence would be adding a total of 711 new dwellings, and many, if not all of these developments, are currently unsold. Let's suppose that each new unit has at least 2 individuals living in it. 711 times 2 equals 1,422, assuming that each of those new people own and drive a vehicle, and acknowledging that some units may have more than 2 drivers or less than 2 drivers, it's safe to say that roughly 1,500 extra vehicles would be in the heart of Independence. I've heard that this is not going to connect to Oliver, but there's also things saying that Oliver would have to have sidewalks and stuff. Either way, Oliver Road is not built for heavy traffic. It's barely a 2-lane road that only got plowed down the center during this most recent snowstorm. When there are games at the booster field at the end of Oliver, traffic comes to a halt as people try to pass by each other. At minimum, 178 new cars, assuming there's only 1 car per dwelling, is going to just be insanity. While I did not have enough time to actually look up the records of traffic incidents on Kentucky 17 from the intersection at 16 all the way to McCollum, I can say with certainty that each of these intersections has seen their fair share of wrecks on what seems like a fairly regular basis, one of which was this past Sunday, right after church time. Adding an extra entrance for vehicles to go in and out of this development is just asking for more collisions, especially without a traffic light. The speed limit through there is 55 miles per hour if people are following that. Also, the Independence we see today is not the same friendly Independence we grew up in. With more people comes more crime. We've seen an uptick in criminal activity, police involvement in our subdivisions, firearms discharged into residential areas, 2 manhunts within the past 3 years, both of which were heavily focused on Oliver Road. And let's not forget that Fowler Creek runs right through the base of this proposed development. I went by it today on my way here. The creek has already risen up to its banks. And what would happen if we remove all the trees and vegetation from that hillside, because that bottom side, that's a hill. If we remove all the vegetation, what's going to stop the houses down there from getting flooded, all in the name of more development? I urge you to read the room, not just the Independence people who are here speaking, but all of Kenton County. Our schools are overflowing with no real plan to expand. Our roads are not built for this much traffic. The crime rates will only continue to rise, And our green space is quickly disappearing, all while the citizens in the real world are saying enough. Progress does not always need to mean development. A lot of times it means listening to the people who already live in the area and hearing their opinions about what happens in their community. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Glade? I just say, this is for the commissioners, we can't consider any impacts on schools as part of this. Now that was mentioned. And on the stormwater runoff, as part of, they're required as part of their development to not have additional runoff coming off their site there. So that's the detention facility up to the top. But appreciate your comments otherwise. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Next, Scott Whalen.
Hello, I'm Scott Whalen. I live at 5037 Oliver Road. We are to the south of Mr. Dale's Purples. There's a house and a small barn right there. The little triangle, almost looks like a triangle. I'm opposed to it because I want to keep Independence Royal. That's what our community is about. It's almost like a Walton to an example. We're still country, but we have the city there as well. And like Miss Cecilia just said, there's so many developments going on right now. It's like, I can't believe that Fisher Homes is building a subdivision across from St. Cecilia. And we fought that as hard as we could, but here we are again. So I'm not against Dale selling because he's doing his right by owning his land, but the community's already big enough. I mean, how much more do we need? We need to keep it country. We just built the Downs out in Nicholson. That's all country and rural. So why would we not keep it the same? I mean, we're getting too big for our britches, in my opinion.
Any questions for Mr. Whalen? Thank you, Mr. Whalen. All right. Benjamin, is it Bach or Bach? Bach.
Benjamin Bach, 10112 Meadow Glen Drive, Independence. I think I'm particularly positioned to comment on this as a resident of Independence, but also a homeowner of a Fisher development and dealing with and as a HOA board member of that development, of what Fisher says and what Fisher does, and there is a significant disconnect of what they may promise and then not deliver. Because what they promise to get the approval is one thing, what they actually deliver, if it's not in hard writing, it doesn't happen. This being called Coppice Hollow is particularly interesting to me. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the practice of coppicing. It's where you cut down moderately fast-growing trees in the way that in 10, 15 years, they will sprout from that cutting so you can recycle them and use them for firewood or other purposes. It's like a sustainable thing that's been going on Middle Ages all over the world. But what they're doing here is raising all the trees and not having them plant back in the name of having green space, which is sparsely populated hillside, which is then going to not capture the water sufficiently and degrade the hillside on down, causing more trouble. Yeah. So additionally, that water is part of the watershed for Fowler Creek, and removing that capture of water is in this way so much impervious systems. Yes, you have the detention pond, but that detention pond sits right above another home, and I don't know if that's exactly a great location for a retention pond over top of someone else's home. So if something would fail, you have a big flood right down in there, over top of their house. I'm not opposed to development. I'm not opposed we have a housing crisis in Northern Kentucky as was laid out by the PDS. This isn't solving it. As PDS also called out, this doesn't match the conformity. It's centered on the hotspot, already have too many of those. You could sell the property, develop it, but change this design so it actually is addressing those needs in a constructive format that does meet. If they applied and did things by the book as compliant, we wouldn't be here, and they could develop. They could buy it, they could build it. So the question is how much they want to go beyond the lines of what the community has already said is functional and good in the direction we want to move in. The other aspect to this is a PUD. So I'm just going to read the definition on the books for what is a PUD. The intent of the Planned Unit Development District is to provide flexibility in creating planned communities that may incorporate a range of uses, including single-family detached and/or attached dwellings, commercial office, flex industrial, recreational uses. PUD should be designed to incorporate open space and a development pattern in accordance with natural features on the site. It should be used to create communities of unique character and lasting value, not to subvert the requirements of a conventional zoning district. I think that is the case that we have right here, because most of the natural features on the site are getting raised. The curb cut. Thank you. On 17, yes, it does exist. Pull up drive by it, pull up on satellite. It's not designed for this type of traffic coming in and out. There's a curb cut on one side and the other side to support the agricultural access to what that ground currently is, so that you wouldn't have to come up from the hill. If you're going to bring this much traffic in, that's why we have intersections with traffic lights. If you're going to build and put in this much traffic, we're going to probably need a traffic light there, and those are expensive. And how has that been planned out? Is that going to be accounted for? Which goes in line with, oh, we're already matching the development that's already down here. Well, newsflash, there's already two grocery stores in Independence. There's Aldi, there's Publix, there's Dollar Tree if you really want to get that stuff too. Dollar General. Publix isn't changing that as signaling, oh, we're all city now. No, that's not it. Additionally, if you're going to connect, then the place to build this kind of stuff would be in the correct zone where that property's already been zoned for. Because if you want to have a connected environment and people to walk to those great access points, they need a sidewalk that continues. If you build a sidewalk there, you're going to end up having people walking down on the side of the road on the median, down 17, people going by 55, 65 miles an hour. That doesn't connect, this is going to be an island unto itself, not a part of the Independence community. As PDS, I am full support of the PDS's recommendations, because even if as it does not comply with all the things that they listed, and for the reasons I have stated, that they would need to do all sorts of additional things to this to make it work. The roads don't work. You can't turn around on those. It doesn't even match. All these things, we all know, PDS knows, they know, but they didn't act in good faith. And they can repeatedly do this. They know what works, and they say, well, we know what works, but we can really push and act nice, and maybe we'll get you to ignore the facts of the case. And I'm just saying, please do not do that. I don't know if it approaches the incorrect path here, but none of this supports good access for buses to come in, turn around, and navigate that. I don't know if that's too much at school, but there's no through traffic. I know the road that you have cutting off into the south, like potential new development, that path, follow it, that is going to be a lot of turning and congestion towards that new development. If you want to have a development be put in that's going to be long-term and supportive, what you're going to want to be doing is put in a frontage road along that and then spin off of that, so that when traffic comes into the future developments to the south of this, they have a smooth flow that comes in, possibly using traffic circles. Yes, they take up more space, but they slow down traffic, they make it safer, it's more resident friendly. Lots of great things. Again, all this stuff, we know, they know, you know, but they just didn't do it. Also, that somehow a housing alignment could be, somehow these type of houses are appropriate for divorcees and single family. Like, a house is a house. You don't know who's going to move into it. It's a residence. You don't know if it's young people, old people. People are trying to find houses. And the deciding factor there is, how much does it cost? So that's what you need to be pointing at, is like, how is it accessible? Is it aligned? Is it matching and serving the community? Landscaping, they're going to do landscaping. They're not going to do the landscaping that they're going to put in. They're not going to put in trails. As a person of Meadow Glen, they sell that every day up until they sold their last house in our subdivision. last year. They tell people, oh, we're going to put in a second pool, we're going to put in these trails. They did nothing of that sort. So please, in summary, I would advocate you to please adhere and listen to the PDS recommendation of not a recommendation. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Bach? Mr. Bach, I just, a couple comments.
Yes.
I think you heard staff on the access point. I mean, they will need to do a traffic impact study, and KYTC is going to be reviewing this, and we'll have to approve the access for this project.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's it.
All right,
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Jeannie, I'm sorry, I can't. Roar Cassie?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Janine Rohrkassi, 4605 Oliver. And most of my points have been brought up, so I won't bring those up since they've already been said. My one question, though, and I know you don't have everything planned out yet. I mean, you're working on it, and I know you have good faith in getting it all done correctly. But I have a question on, like, can you explain exactly how a sidewalk on Oliver Road, like, where would that go? What would that look like? Is there a way to, because we have to have a sidewalk on Oliver, correct?
We can, why don't you talk to the
Oh, I'm
commission,
sorry.
and we'll take notes, and we'll.
I was just thinking they probably know the answer. So how would a sidewalk on Oliver Road work? I guess that's just my question. I mean,
No,
can you, I don't know.
We're
I'm-
speaking to you right now, and they'll come back in a moment.
Oh, okay, so that was my biggest question, how a sidewalk would work. And where's, can you guys show on there where McCollum Road is too? I'm trying to, I know it said the south of McCollum, is McCollum right, that bridge right there at the edge?
Further up, further north.
It's further. Okay. Well, I guess that was my only question then. How would a sidewalk look along Oliver?
Got it. We'll ask the applicant. Thank you. Kelly Jett?
Kelly Jett, 4581 Oliver Road, right up the street from this. Just a couple quick things. One, I agree with her, the sidewalk's not gonna work on Oliver because I'm a mailman, so I deliver that route. I'm well aware of the road and how everything's tied in. My biggest concern is the top portion of that property where all those houses are. There's no way if they come in and clear the land and make it, the logic is you're gonna clear this out and put in a development, which is fine. Where does the water go? I live further up on Oliver Road. The creek in that area there is very small. In my property, it's 50 feet wide. It can handle a lot of water. You know, it goes up, down quick. That's not an issue. But in that part of the area, that creek is like 15 feet wide. When you put all that development up there and all that concrete, that water has to go somewhere. And all of those houses down there, on the other side of Oliver, a lot of those houses are way up on the hill. They have a buffer. There's all kinds of room. The young lady that talked about the Dennises that live at 4975, they're 4 feet from a creek, height-wise. So any issue with all of this, where all this water is going to go, affects way too many houses there.
I mentioned previously, they can't increase the stormwater issues, and so that they've got the detention facility that's up there on the north, and that's where the water's gonna be draining to that site.
And they have to meet the regulations of sanitation
I understand
district.
that. My concern is that, again, what the gentleman said about it being country. I know exactly where his house is. Nobody wants to see a condo behind him. And all this is the first step of them working all the way down to Publix. Then that entire section is thousands of cars getting onto 17. She mentioned about people doing 60, 65 through that whole new section of 17. There's way too much issues of controlling traffic, and this is gonna cause a lot more headaches. You put the other section in and new entrances to 17, then where do all those people go? You know, the safety of everybody trying to live there that likes the country atmosphere, and especially with being a mail carrier, all of the subdivisions that we deal with, I mean, granted, it keeps me a job. It's good from that aspect, but it's just a little too much. I think it's just being overdeveloped too quickly, and it's more about a business doing what's good for the business, not what's good for the community. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr.
Yeah,
Jett?
I want to go ahead and make the comment on the sidewalks. The only sidewalks they'll be required to put in on Oliver Road is to the property that they own that abuts Oliver Road. They aren't going to be required to put sidewalk in front of anybody else's houses. I think that's what
No,
people
no,
might be
I
thinking.
understand that part
Just
of it,
so everybody
so-
understands, the only place they'd be able required to, that's the only place that they'd be required to, because under subdivision regulations, when you develop property next to.
I understand that, and I know
that's where it
exactly
would be.
where that location is, and that's basically a waste of money because you're putting a subdivision to nothing.
I can't comment to that, but we like our sidewalks because
Sure,
everything, while it might be nowhere, but, I want to make clear for the people that are here, so when you come up, they're not going to be required to put any sidewalks in front of anybody's house or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, I understood that part, yeah.
I didn't know if everybody did.
Any other comments, questions for Mr. Jett? Thanks. Okay, last but not least, Jacob March Bishop.
Jacob March Bishop, live at 796 Jimay Avenue, Independence. And I just want to start with, I was born here and I was raised here. I'm a true Kentuckian. I lived on Independence Road. I lived over in Erlanger. I come back to Independence. I've been all over Kentucky. And the time that I've been here, from when I was a baby, when I was a child, our population was around 13,000. And we fast forward 20 years and we're at like 40,000. That's quite a dramatic jump, but economy, growth, people pick up, it's good for the economy, it's good for the community to a certain extent. Now, I understand what she was talking about when was her grandparents' house, and she was talking about over there off of Oliver. Now, right where the Publix is, there used to be a red barn standing out there. And before 17 was built, that was an active farm. Now, all the farms in the areas that we've seen as of lately, pretty much all of them are gone. There are no more farmers. And there are small farms, but it's very discouraging for somebody to be able to run a tractor down the road in the middle of a 5 o'clock rush or 8 o'clock in the morning. I still see a tractor at the car wash every once in a while. It makes me feel pretty good. But, we get down to the points of going over on Bristow and you see the development for the 4 lanes. I remember when that was a 2-lane. There was also a small house down there, a trailer, and I used to get babysitted by somebody down there. And it would flood all the time. That's part of the reason why they left. They saw the opportunity to get out, and they left. Kind of an opportunity for growth. Independence was small and hurting, in the aspect of the economy. Road work, buildings, schools, and those kinds of things. But as we progress and we get more and more people, there's elbow-to-elbow traffic, elbow-to-elbow traffic every day. And when I commute, my route goes along Bristow, but every time I drive by those new houses, it bothers me. It angers me because I've seen this city, the city that I love, the Kentuckians that I love, and I've seen it overgrow and become just this ball of just madness. Now, I don't know about the rest of the people in the room, but I'm angry. I'm upset. And I want to see people cling to their integrity. This isn't good for the community. And I think a lot of y'all know this. But with that, I'll close.
All right,
Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you for being here. All right, that's all I have signed up to speak. We could have the applicant respond to some of the comments, questions.
So first I'll touch on the traffic study. We are in process of getting a traffic study. We're working through that right now. The second thing, the sidewalk, I think that was addressed. It's a requirement of Kenton County subdivision regulations, and as Mr. Darble mentioned, we would be required per subdivision regulations to do that. And The other thing I wanted to mention, going back to the HOA fees, I did do a little bit of research and was able to get those very accurate. They vary depending on which type of unit you're in and if you have a garage, so there is some variation. They're around $200 monthly in Tuscany, and then there's an additional fee semi-annually. There's 2 additional fees that total roughly $300. So I do want to point out that is Tuscany, a much, much bigger community, and there are many different amenities with that. So that would vary, but that, to answer your question for Tuscany. And I think that was all I had to answer. Is there anything that I may have missed?
I don't know if you or Mr. Willenbrick want to talk about the stormwater.
Oh, the stormwater?
issue
Yes.
that was raised a couple times.
Do you want to talk about it? I can go.
With any project within the sanitation district's watershed, you need to follow all their requirements. So there is stormwater management requirements that we will have drainage calculations that will have to be submitted and approved with the sanitation district. There was some comments about Fowler Creek as well. There is a buffer that is required. It's a 75-foot buffer along from the edge of the site, our site side, to so there is a buffer there that is required from zoning that is incorporated into the plan. So,
Commissioner Baumgartner. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Flynn, I'm sorry.
A somewhat related question. There is a creek on the property. What happens to the creek when you build?
So yes, Fowler Creek, it's labeled on the
Fowler?
screen there, yes. So it does traverse the eastern, it kind of flirts with our property and then kind of goes off the property, but that is what I was mentioning. So the zoning requirement is based on the type of stream. There is a 75-foot buffer that is maintained along that.
I think I'm looking at a different creek. So on a different slide, I'm looking at a creek that runs
Blue line
east-west.
stream?
Yeah, a little stream.
Could be the blue line.
Yes,
Yeah.
I noticed that during staff's presentation. Generally, those are from GIS.
Yeah.
We've actually had an environmental consultant come out and do a delineation, and that was found to be a non-jurisdictional swale. So that is not anything on our property, but Fowler Creek, the north-south would be
A
stream.
non-jurisdictional swale,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at?
Yes, that's from GIS. I believe, I don't want to speak on behalf of staff, but generally, sometimes they're accurate, sometimes they're not. I'm not really sure how they get that data, but.
Or maybe it depends on how much water's falling from the sky?
Well, we hire external consultants, so, and they have to get that, they present that to the Army Corps of Engineers, which we've had the Army Corps of Engineers review our report and certify that that's accurate, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
If I can?
Yes,
if
of
there's-
course.
Is there any parking on the streets for the duplexes there? I mean, are
So
or is
generally,
there room for it?
There is room for on-street parking. Do we have on-street parking on one side, maybe? I think we do.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
it
have-
might be widthwise, I'm talking about between the houses if I don't know how wide the
Oh, for
driveways
like
are.
some additional pull-in spaces?
I mean, I see them in front of the condos, you know, the multifamily, but your duplexes, I don't know. Is there even enough room for an extra car on any of the streets? Between the driveways? I mean, it just seems like those are also tight. Anybody, you know, holiday or anything like that, where do those folks park? Especially cul-de-sacs, you have 8 units across the back of the cul-de-sac. If any of them have an extra car, where's it going?
So one thing about a duplex is each one has the 2-car garage, and then our driveway is set back so that you can get a car pulled into the driveway without the overhang, theoretically. Then you can also do on-street parking, and yes, our setbacks, you can get 1 car in between the buildings with the side yards. And then the ones on the cul-de-sac, of course, no parking would be allowed within the ball. They do have longer driveways because of that. And then on the south side, there is some additional, and even on the north-south road, there's some additional parking built into that condominium parking. There's, I
Commissioner
think, a couple of
Ganges,
smaller lots on the lowest cul-de-sac.
Commissioner Bridges?
This for you or for staff. I know that's a 4-lane highway there, and the curb cut is on the northbound. Can they make a left turn and go on the south? I know it's together and then it splits. Is it, can they go left there, out of there?
So right now, what we're proposing is you can make a left, if you're on 17 going south, you can make a left turn into our neighborhood. If you're coming out, I believe would be a right only, but that would be up to the highway department. They could potentially limit us to right in, right out. That's something that would come out during our traffic study.
There's no turnarounds. They'd have to go all the way to Summit View and turn around somewhere up there and then come back if they wanted to go to Simon Kenton.
Do you know where the next turn is? Is it Summit View? But there was another break in the median. In the south, okay, yeah.
I have another question as well.
Yes.
Just a question, I think Mr. Bach brought up school buses, but I know subdivision regulations and such, but the flow of this development for school buses, for fire, EMS, et cetera, it's really, you can't make a circular path, come in and then circle around and come out. It seems like you're backing and multiple angles to try to turn a vehicle, truck around or a fire equipment around. Was that taken into consideration, or am I missing something here? Or, you're coming into the development, you've got all these cul-de-sacs that, I don't know that a school bus, but a fire truck would then have to maneuver to get out of there and back up?
And those bulbs on the cul-de-sac do meet the county subdivision regulations regarding like a fire truck or a dump truck. They do meet the turnaround requirements. And as far as school bus, we kind of look at the larger trucks all as one, but school buses could also make those movements.
Let's see, I think Commissioner France is next.
So I'm just concerned about that density. You knew it was 1.0 existing, and there was a purple shaded area on the map that the staff brought up that's just a little bit farther south. So maybe that land isn't available, but it seems like you got the development in the wrong section along Kentucky 17. Now maybe there was no property available. This one was. I don't know what the particulars of all that are. But given that you're in this site, what dictated the 7.2? I mean, it seems like if you bring up your slide that had the colored for all the different buildings, as you're driving down any street other than the one that parallels Kentucky 17, all you're seeing is building after building. And it just seems like, knowing that the density was the elephant in the room, why did you put so many buildings in there? Why not stick to the more, the 4 point, I think the adjoining was 4.8. What's driving the 7.2? Is it just economics for the project, or how do you get to that point?
So if I may, this parcel right here is the density is 7 to 30 units per acre. And we felt that, I don't think you would want to put, obviously you wouldn't want to put single family here. We felt like this was a good transition from that high density that you'll likely find down here into our neighborhood. And that's kind of, we didn't aim for 7, that was where it landed with our design.
Commissioner Bridges?
How is a school bus that's gonna go in there, pick up the kids, and it can't go left? Simon Kenton is south. How are they gonna get the kids to Simon Kenton? The 4-lane, there's no turnaround. There's no place to turn around. I guess they could go up there by Summit View and then come back through downtown Independence to get to Simon Kenton after 5 or 6 miles.
They would just route that route, they would just go head north and then come back.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying.
But you're assuming after the pickup, they're going straight to school. But the assumption on the school would be, I pick them up first, and then I hit another subdivision, and then
There's
come
no
back.
other subdivision up that way.
Huh?
There's no subdivision on that section of 17.
You know, if you go up and take a right, and then they're building it by the ball fields.
By where?
The ball fields, in the back of the ball fields. We approved that a while ago.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, that's all I have signed up to speak. We'll recess the public hearing for discussion among commissioners. I mean, I'll just kind of like tee it up for everybody to remember is, you know, if it's not consistent with the comprehensive plan, and I mean, I certainly don't think it's consistent with the comprehensive plan based on the small area study, the future land use map. You then need to look at and see if the existing classification is inappropriate and that the proposed zoning classification is appropriate. Or the other one is whether there have been major changes of an economic, physical, or social nature within the area involved, which were not anticipated in the adopted comprehensive plan, which have substantially altered the basic character of the area. I mean, I will say that you know, there is a lot of density in this site for sure. It does seem that the public's development has changed the area. I don't see that area, you know, being developed for one dwelling unit per acre or 2 dwelling units per acre. That doesn't seem to me to be, you know, appropriate. Now, whether this particular plan goes too far the other way, I'm not totally sure on that, but at least I can, you know, that we have to look at this from the legal standpoint, what the standard is on this map amendment. And some of the comments that have been made tonight, I understand why they've been made, but that really, when it gets down to it, that's what we need legally to be looking at. So I'll just, from there, I'll be quiet and listen.
When do we look at recommended land use and there's small area studies? I know small area studies, this was done in 2007. And sometimes these small area studies linger on and they're just there on the books. But at what point in time do we just say we ignore this or the land use, or it's not consistent, or the small area study that they paid for and developed, they're throwing that out? I mean, it doesn't appear there's anybody from the city here that's, you know, telling us that that's obsolete and we're for this or we're not for this, so how do we?
I think that dovetails into what the chairman was talking about, the fact that it's still in there, the fact that the land use map and staff's report indicates that it's in there and it's not consistent. So the real question, and I think that's what you're driving at, that things have changed, and that's why I think the chair was focused on that last criteria of whether, given Publix and
17
and 17, whether there's been sufficient change to justify this change.
Yep.
I think cities should kind of go in there and revamp things at some point.
Yeah. But the statute deals with that too. So, but I'm with you. That's what I was wondering. And I was curious how old that study was, which is 07. So, yeah.
I do think that there is a lot of demand for the Karen Patio Wembley ones and all the ones in Tuscany, so in the last 2 months, they're going like this and they are going really fast. Now, for that particular area, I don't know if it's the best spot for them, but it also, in terms of like the affordability aspect, their mortgage payment estimates for a condominium are putting 20% down, and even on the pair patios the upgrades, those are just base prices and what you get. Nobody buys a Fisher and doesn't upgrade anything.
But I mean, it's that the income aligned is something, you know, that would be great if it could be achieved, but it's not, doesn't need to be in every location. There's certain
Right.
spots that are gonna be more expensive to develop, and, you know, but I hear you on that.
I think, along those lines, there, you know, keep mentioning Tuscany, and there is obviously great demand for those, and they wouldn't be wanting to develop these here if they didn't give those demand too. And I do think it's a rational statement to say that while these don't meet the price points that are desired, that, you know, it is empty nesters who are buying those, and that does free up homes. I mean, that's a legitimate point to make. However, I also want to say that when it comes to PUDs, we have a responsibility to be very careful and demanding in approving them, because they can't just be to get around what otherwise would be the zoning requirements.
And I don't know this to be the case, but, because I was asking myself, you know, why not come and just have it rezoned with the higher density? And my guess is with the PUD, a big part of it too is, you know, if I'm the city, I'm gonna wanna know with more certainty what's going to be there, which the PUD permits and locks them in more so than whatever you wanna stick there with that density. But I'm with you, and I thought that was a good point that was made. Commissioner Simpson?
Brought up a good point where kind of this residential product is designed for empty nesters, and it just boggles my mind, what is our definition of that? Are we assuming that empty nesters are those individuals that have higher income? You can be a low income individual where children leave your home that you own. So it's just kind of getting out of that mindset, and let's get to kind of the crux of the situation where we do need additional housing. I think that's a priority that we've seen for our county. But when a company comes to this board who serves all the residents in Kenton County, that product needs to also serve those residents as well. And we've kind of seen that by making sure that there's an income aligned element to that product serves all of our residents, we need to make sure, or I feel that we need to ensure that that product aligns with what is the need for the county when they come to this board. I've never wanted to say that you can't build your product, just build it in a place that's already allowed. So that's kind of, and in addition, there's always already been an unfavorable recommendation by our staff. With all of those combined, I kind of feel I can't move forward this rezoning.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I just agree with Commissioner Woodman.
You agree or disagree?
I agree with Commissioner Woodman. Plan unit developments are they're intended to bring something unique. They're intended to give people, hey, design something that's unique, because we don't want to just shut stuff out. This isn't unique. This is, you're going from 1 unit per dwelling acre to 7. And I think it's too big a jump with nothing unique here. If you look at the green space, it's a detention pond. And I just don't see that as being something that's making this into a planned unit development that sticks out to some, you know, that is what we're looking for and why that was created within the comprehensive plan, why that's created under the zoning codes. I mean, you know, it's not meant to be a free check to, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want because it's planned unit development now, hey, we like it. It's supposed to be something unique that wouldn't otherwise be approved, and that's just, all they need is the density.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing unique to it.
I agree with that. It seems like, you know, I do get the point that you've got Publix on that main corner and you've got higher density even beyond the site. for that, and this would make sense for a decent transition, the densities is less of an issue for me, because I think it makes sense. And the PUD, I'm with you, in the grand scheme of things, that's what it's intended for. You're absolutely right. But I also see the benefit to, the city or whoever want to kind of protect what goes on there. That's one way for them to do it. But I get it.
So you protect it with a planned unit development that's with the proper density, with the proper uniqueness, with the proper ability to bring something to our community.
I went to some continuing ed last year or something, and some communities have been getting away from PUDs. They find that they've kind of been abused and stuff, and a lot of times, I'm not saying in this particular instance, but you have some land that you have a 75-foot buffer and you can't build anything on, so you're going to donate that as part of your 30% or 35%, in this case 38%. You can't use it anyway, so now you have a PUD, and that's your green space. I kind of agree with Paul and Brian. I'm kind of mixed on this, but
it just seems, I hear you. I just feel like the density number is kind of in line with what seems to make sense with that. But
Chairman, I have a question about that though, because whatever we want to call this, the sepia colored rectangle that is adjoining this property, I believe, if I understood the applicant correctly, is only that tiny little wedge that's connecting to it on the southwest corner.
Right.
So the entire rest of the perimeter is not, in fact, that higher density.
correct,
So
but
you're-
it's got the topography that goes down from there with the wood line and the creek, and they gotta stay 75 feet off of that. So there's a
Right.
natural buffer from that density. And the comment was made that if you were accessing it from Oliver Road, then absolutely it makes sense. You need more of a single-family home kind of density there. But these are gonna be off 17, and you've got that buffer there, so. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all right. I just, just for the clarification of that entire perimeter, only this much of it, only a small edge of it is actually abutting that more, that denser area.
Commissioner Bridges.
Our job is, whether we like, not to pick whether we like something or not, our job is, does it conform to the comprehensive plan? And every now and then we'll fudge it. Well, it wants 2, they want to do 2.5. Okay, close enough. This is off by factors, and we have staff against it. They're not usually against too many things. But for me, it's simple. I don't see any big change. We knew something big was going to. I'm not sure if Publix was even in there when we just adopted the plan, if they were in there. But everybody knew that corner was going to be something big. That's not a surprise or a big change. I'm sure it was probably zoned commercial beforehand. We knew something was going in there big, so I don't, and if the great development, all they gotta do is, there's a parcel next door, they can build what they want. They can find the land that's.
Control that, so.
But
Yes,
there's land out there to
France.
do, there's land out there to do what they wanna do.
Commissioner France?
Kind of following up with Paul, the applicants come to us requesting the PUD zone, and I'm not sure this meets a PUD. I don't know if we have a definition, a clear definition of what a PUD is or isn't, or if staff, when we get an applicant come in for PUD, do they make a determination of whether this is a truly designed PUD or not? But the PUD is to design all these amenities and open spaces and access to them. That's part and parcel of the PUD, and none of that's here. It's all forthcoming. But then maybe the application should have come after all that's in place to see it. It seems like they just put as many units as they could in this. I mean, the surrounding land uses, I think at the most to the east and west were 4.8. Well, that would go a long way to easing the crowding of the site, to design it to a 4.8. net density. I think the 7.2 is just kind of a bridge too far, and I don't know, I agree with you, Brian, that 1 to 2 is not appropriate for something along Kentucky 17, but I think the 7.2 is stretching, and I don't know. And it said that the PUD, I don't know, maybe staff could weigh in on that, whether this meets the definition of a PUD or not in their mind.
Any other comments? All right, I think good discussion. We will return to the public hearing. Do we need any clarifications for staff? I heard, you have anything to chime in on, like, kind of the definition of a PUD again? I know that the report referred to the intent of the zones and to implement elements of the plan, provide flexibility, clustering.
Yeah, so you are correct, Mr. Chairman, and again, this is just a kind of a summary of what the purpose of planned unit development is. On the front end, we as staff don't determine whether something actually meets that or not. That's kind of what this process is here to do. That once the application is in, we review it and compare it to like what the intent is, and then we have this public hearing to make that final decision. So there is guidance, but there's not like black and white guidance where we can immediately say yes or no. Like, we've got to look at what each applicant brings to us and review that each on its own merits.
Any other clarifications needed? Thanks, Andy. All right, if not, we'll close the public hearing and we will entertain a motion. Our Independence rep, Mr. Snyder, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I will. I'll say something first. I'm very much a proponent for landowners having the right to do what they want and to sell their farms, sell their land. Subdivided, it's their right. They have the ability to do that. I also feel that there's a right way to do it, and I don't think that this is the best way to do it. To put the planned unit development over this just to get to a certain number, I don't think is great for the community. I live in the community. I've been there for many years. I'm in a development that probably was a farm once.
The bird farm.
I appreciate that somebody sold their farm so that I could live there, and I love independence. I understand people are very adamant about wanting to keep the farms and keep rural. It's not going to stay rural forever unless everybody wants to buy their neighbor's farm. I've said this to many of my neighbors and my friends. With that being said, I'm going to make the motion to deny this development, PC-26-0002-MA on, it is not consistent with the Kenton County comprehensive plan. Although the development will provide new housing options, the proposed density is far exceeding the recommended land use map, as well as the recommendations of the independent small area study about providing housing type that can be consistent with income aligned. The facts that were heard here tonight, provided by a staff report and a testimony of staff and witnesses present at the public hearing.
Okay, we have first by Commissioner Snyder, second by Commissioner Simpson. Any further discussion? I think, I'd just add, I think the bridge too far maybe is where I landed on this. So.
I think I think there's a design that can happen here, and I think that was a very eloquent motion, because it's really how I feel. I think something needs to go here. I just don't know if this meets the real definition of a unique PUD. It looks like it's just, what can we fit in there and how much can we get in there? Back it off a little bit and make some flow in there, and I think you've got a great project. But I'd have to agree with Commissioner Snyder.
First, second, any further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Sketch?
No.
Commissioner Wickman?
Yes.
Commissioner Baumgartner?
Yes.
Commissioner Bridges?
Yes.
Commissioner Darkle?
Yes.
Commissioner DeAngelis?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunham?
Yes.
Commissioner Flynn?
Yes.
Commissioner France?
Yes.
Commissioner Hyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Herman?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
No.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
And the motion to recommend to deny is approved.
Okay, so, we came on the side of recommending, denial of the zone, the map amendment. It'll now go to the City of Independence and, with our recommendation, so you'll need to stay in touch with the city. All right. Next item on our agenda. Writing all over it. Let's see. All right, this is file number PC-26-001-TX, Lakeside Park Text. The applicant is the City of Lakeside, per Paul Markgraf, the mayor. The request is a proposed text amendment to the Lakeside Park zoning ordinance to permit fencing less than 50% open to enclose the swimming pool when the property line abuts an institutional use. Mr. Vidakovich?
I have to recuse myself,
Let the
Chairman.
record reflect that Mr. Darple's recused himself. All right, Mr. Vidakovich. And he's left.
Thank you, and good evening. Again, for the record, I'm Andy Vidakovich with staff. As the chair stated, this is a proposed text amendment to the fence regulations in Lakeside Park. So really briefly, the City of Lakeside Park adopted the new zoning ordinance back in 2024. The fence regulations from the old zoning ordinance were carried over directly to the new zoning ordinance. So under the current regulations, and I'll see maybe if I can zoom in here. So it shows up a little bit better, but under the current regulations, swimming pools have to be located in the backyard and they must be enclosed by a fence. The fence must be either ornamental, wood, or other material greater than 50% open. So basically not a solid fence. The height of the fence must be a minimum of 48 inches, but not more than 84 inches. So the proposed text amendment will basically amend that section of the fence regulations to allow a fence less than 50% open. So basically, you know, anything from a solid fence up to 50% open to enclose a swimming pool, but only if certain conditions apply. So first, the fence is located along a property line that's abutting an institutional use. Obviously, the fence must comply with all other applicable safety regulations for swimming pools. And the property owner has to provide written consent from the adjacent property owners for the fence to be less than 50% open. And then along with this, there will be a cross-reference added under the use-specific standards for swimming pools, just to reference this specific section so there's no confusion when permits are being issued. So staff prepared a couple of maps, and they're also included in your staff report, but this basically highlights the properties that would be affected by the proposed text amendment due to their being abutting a institutional use. So to point a few things out, so this first map on the left-hand side, this is the city building on the corner of Buttermilk and Dixie, and then this is a church located along Dixie, so all of the highlighted properties is where this condition would apply. And then on the right-hand side, this is another church along Dixie Highway. And again, you can see the highlighted text that would, for properties that this would apply to. A couple of other institutional uses. So this is a church as well as the post office. And then on the right-hand side, this is a church that's located directly adjacent to I-275. And finally, there are a couple of institutional uses that actually lie outside of Lakeside Park. However, because the properties within Lakeside Park are adjacent to that use, it would also apply to these uses. This is along Farmington Drive. This is adjacent to the children's home in Fort Mitchell. And then there is a church along Dixie Highway that is in Crestview Hills. So in total, we're talking about a total of 70 properties or so within the city where this text amendment could apply to. So compliance with the comprehensive plan is not required for text amendment. However, staff has identified some following relevant sections, particularly celebrating the unique identity of communities within Kenton County. This would allow for some flexibility for residents to invest in private recreational facilities, while also providing for reasonable protection to avoid attractive nuisances for people who are visiting those adjacent institutional uses. KRS 100 states the allowable content that cities may enact, and staff is giving this a favorable recommendation. Staff finds that this is appropriate and reasonable. The proposed text amendment will allow for greater privacy and safety on lots adjacent to institutional uses where there is the likelihood of more people to be present, especially children. It also provides clarity for residents on proper fencing regulations. The submitted request is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and the city is, this request is also fairly consistent with what other jurisdictions require or allow around swimming pools. Again, a lot of other jurisdictions allow for solid fences around swimming pools. Staff has one additional comment. The city should consider eliminating the requirement that adjacent property owners need to provide written consent for the fence permit, because fencing approval is an administrative zoning determination, not a discretionary decision. Zoning needs to be applied uniformly and objectively across all properties, and introducing neighbor consent could result in the standards not applying evenly in similarly situated properties. So again, we recommend that the city consider not including that language. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
All right. Questions for Mr. Vidakovich? Yeah,
One on the
Mr.
private
Hyder.
side. Healthy lifestyle?
Yes.
So swimming, is it just a swimming pool? Is this in the definition of healthy lifestyle, or?
Well, I think when you're talking about the comprehensive plan, meaning of healthy lifestyle, it could certainly include a lot of other activities. As it's specifically related to this, obviously this only applies to
So that would
swimming
fit
pools.
under there, okay.
Yeah.
I'll save my other stuff for later.
Did you mention any of the jurisdictions that have permit the solid fences?
Yeah, we didn't mention them to my knowledge without having gone
Yeah,
through each
right.
one, but I believe basically every other jurisdiction allows solid fences within the rear yard.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Vidakovich? All right, thank you. Let's see, I have two people signed up, Dennis Landwehr and Paul Rizzo. Mr. Landwehr?
Yes.
Are you for, against, or neutral?
I'm a member.
You're with the applicant, gotcha.
I'm a member of City Council representing
All right,
Mr. Markway.
thank you, Mr. Landwehr. And then, Mr. Rizzo, are you for, against, or neutral?
I'm for.
Okay, all right, well, let's have our applicant up first. Sorry, Mr. Landwehr, I'm making you come back up. Mr. Rizzo, if you'll take a seat, please.
I have a question. We're gonna take this up probably Monday night.
If you could state your name and.
Dennis Landwehr, I'm a
Address.
council member of City of Lakeside Park.
Okay.
You want my address?
Please.
27 Marion Drive, Lakeside Park.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sketch?
Yeah, I just have one question. What's driving this? Is this a specific property or something?
Yeah, Mr. Rizzo's property.
Okay. Okay. You just want to make it uniform. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Anything else?
all right. Any other questions for Mr. Landwehr?
I guess-
Mr. Hyder?
I'm still learning the process, but curious about could this have been handled by a Board of Adjustments, or your decision to go with the text amendment versus a one-off Board of Adjustments?
If you're asking my personal opinion as a council member, I've been on council for 10 years. I think this whole situation with Mr. Rizzo could have been resolved with a couple of phone calls, in my opinion. And it just seemed to snowball into where it is today. I'm from the school where a resident could come to the city, to the mayor, to city council. Someone could have called me, asked me to come visit, any other member of council. We're a small city, 3,000, and probably could have resolved it relatively simply. And it just seemed to compound itself to this point where it is now. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I believe so.
Can I go before Board of Adjustments? It's not a variance. Only if it's a setback issue.
I don't think it could go to Board of Adjustments.
Yeah.
So I was curious. Yeah, thank you.
It's not a variance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mr. Landwehr.
Thank you.
Mr. Rizzo?
Paul Rizzo, 209 Applewood Drive, Lakeside Park.
You can go ahead.
If you can
want
show
me
the,
to pull it
you
over?
can show the videos. I felt funny taking the video. I don't like taking pictures of children, but throughout the whole summer, I've got 30, 40 children next to the pool. And I built the pool during the winter, and then when the spring came, there was a lot of, children. I was afraid they're gonna climb over and get injured. You said, how did it evolve? I did build the fence, 50% open, and then I was having some issues. I should have went to the city. I was naive. I went to my neighbors. All three of my neighbors who would join my property agreed that it would be better to have a privacy fence. So I put it up. I didn't realize I had to go to the city first. I made a mistake.
Any questions for Mr. Rizzo? Thank you. Okay, we will, any clarifications for staff? We'll recess the public hearing for discussion among commissioners. I feel better hearing that, but, the video was helpful, it makes sense, and I was a little concerned hearing how it impacted so many folks, but hearing that it's very common in the other jurisdictions to have a solid fence, I'm
Yeah,
comfortable with it.
just a couple thoughts. Thank you for the clarification on that it's not really a Board of Adjustment issue. That helps me from a learning standpoint. And it does seem as though, from a little bit of research I've done, Lakeside Park is a little more restrictive on the fencing than the others, as you mentioned, Chairman. But I also don't know that just comparing to other cities matters all the time, right? It was put in place by their plan and by their council, and that's what they adopted. I appreciate staff's comments about looking at the language, but I also think if you're going to do a text amendment and it opens it up to everybody else then that has that same type of use, it might be nice for neighbor-to-neighbor access to actually have that little process in place to get a letter from neighbors, just so you can kind of deal with it as it goes through versus just a blanket adoption of that for 70 more properties. So I don't know that I agree or disagree with staff, but I don't know that, I probably disagree a little bit on that of saying I don't know that we recommend that the city take that on. That's all I have.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate any other learnings on similar cases from my peers here.
His comment about that it's an administrative decision.
Yeah.
It's like really it should be black or white. It's a formula of does this type of fence meet this criteria, and then it shouldn't matter if your neighbor's for it or against it. If it meets it, it gets approved. If it doesn't meet it, it doesn't get approved. So.
And there's some case law in Kentucky making that very clear, so try to remove the subjectivity and place of the objectivity. Does it or doesn't it comply, and then they can get a building permit. But to vest an adjacent property owner and delegate an adjacent property owner with regard to what you can do on your property, I don't think it's a proper delegation of authority. I think only the planning commission and the city have the ability to be able to adopt regulations that affect land use
Okay.
matters.
Helpful, appreciate that.
All right, any other discussion? All right, we'll return to public hearing. Any clarifications needed? Hearing none, we'll recess for, entertain a motion for this next one.
I'll make a motion. With reference to file PC-26-0001-TX, Lakeside Park text amendment. I move to approve the text amendment based on the facts and considerations contained in the staff report and based on the testimony of staff and witnesses, and further finding the proposed text amendment to be reasonable regulation.
Not
Second
with,
by
not with the
Commissioner
conditions, recommendation.
I mean, do you make the recommendation?
But
Include that?
you can include with your motion the,
Staff's
if you want to send on the recommendation, staff's recommendation as well.
That's fine.
Is this second agreeable? Who seconded it?
Motion amended for the condition to be
All right. Any discussion? Otherwise, will you call the roll, please?
Let's see. Commissioner Heidrich?
Yes.
Commissioner Flem?
Yes.
Commissioner France?
Yes.
Commissioner Herman?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Sketch?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Wickman?
Yes.
Commissioner Baumgartner?
Yes.
Commissioner Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Darper recused himself. Commissioner DeAngelis?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickey?
Yes.
And Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
It is approved.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, all right, the last public hearing for the evening is file number PC-26-0002-TX, Bromley Text. The applicant is the City of Bromley per Andrew Clift, City Council. The request is a proposed text amendment to the Bromley zoning ordinance for neighborhood commercial zones, NC, to allow single-family detached residential dwellings. Mr. Vidakovich.
Thank you and good evening. I would like to introduce our intern, Zane Winkler. He is interning with staff this semester, and he will be given the presentation this evening, and then we will both be available to answer any questions that you may have.
All right. Mr. Winkler.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Zane Winkler with PDS staff. As the chair stated, the applicant is the City of Bromley, and the request is for a text amendment to the Bromley zoning ordinance for neighborhood commercial zones to allow single-family detached residential dwellings. It's a brief history. In 2024, the City of Bromley adopted the new Z21 zoning ordinance. And the proposed text amendment will allow existing single-family detached residential dwellings to be in a neighborhood commercial zone. Currently, single-family detached residential dwellings are not permitted in a neighborhood commercial zone. All existing single-family detached residential dwellings would be subject to the intensity and dimensional standards of the residential urban zone within the City of Bromley zoning ordinance and would not be subject to any developmental plan process. For reference, this image highlights the standards of the residential urban zone that existing residential dwellings would be subject to under the zoning ordinance. The City of Bromley currently has one neighborhood commercial zone, and the proposed text amendment would affect approximately 28 lots within that zone. The zone features a majority of detached single-family residential dwellings. Compliance with the comprehensive plan is not required for text amendments. However, staff has identified the following relevant goals, objectives, and recommendations. The submitted request is consistent with the goal to celebrate the unique identities of communities within Kenton County. Furthermore, the City of Bromley is located within the first ring sub-area as highlighted within the comprehensive plan. The submitted request is aligned with the goal that policies, regulations, and incentives should be developed and implemented to preserve and improve the existing community fabric. The proposed text amendment will work to preserve existing single-family residential dwelling units within the NC zone in Bromley. Residents could experience hardship due to the current zoning ordinance. KRS 100 states the allowable content of zoning regulations which cities and counties may enact. And staff is providing a favorable recommendation on the proposed text amendment. The text amendment is appropriate and reasonable, including single-family detached residential dwellings within a neighborhood commercial zone will allow residents to maintain their properties while not being subject to non-conforming regulations. The proposed text amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which calls for flexible regulations to accommodate a more active and engaging built environment with alternative forms of housing within a neighborhood. And finally, it's consistent with supporting the need for a variety of housing options within suburban areas. And I'd be glad to take any questions.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Winkler?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, this is for existing only, but it's currently not permitted, so those existing residents are non-conformed?
Correct.
Okay. Does this allow for future residential development?
I think it's the city's intention to only include existing single-family residential dwellings.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, Mr. Winkler. I have no one signed up to speak. I know it's breaking everyone's heart. We'll recess the public. Oh.
I'm sorry, I forgot to speak up, but I'll just let you know I'm all in favor for this zoning change.
Okay.
Okay, that would be it. We had citizens come to our council meeting, complain that they can't do nothing with their property. They can't sell it, they can't do nothing unless you want to pay cash, you know?
Would you state your name?
Oh, I'm
and
sorry,
address?
Mike Denham, I'm the mayor of the city of Bromley.
Oh, great. Okay, well,
Okay.
thanks for being here. Okay, sorry to cut you off. Not let you get started. All right, now, no one else has signed up to speak. We'll recess the public hearing for discussion. Any comments? No, I was a little concerned
Makes
when I
sense.
first saw it come through, like, what's going on here? But
Makes sense.
and I
Yeah,
love.
it looked like the majority of the 28 of the neighborhood commercial zone is all single-family residential or
Yeah.
residential.
Yeah, but it makes sense, and I love, the Z21, that's a heck of an ordinance. I mean, that definitely makes this process easier, so I like it a lot. Okay, we'll return to public hearing. Any clarifications needed? They're not. We'll close the public hearing. We'll entertain a motion. Who is our Bromley?
Right here.
Commissioner Bridges. Commissioner Bridges.
Yes, on behalf of the City of Bromley, I would like to make the following motion with reference to file PC 26-0002-TX. And I move to approve the text amendment based on the facts and considerations contained in the staff report and based on the testimony of staff and the witnesses present at the public hearing, and further find that the proposed text amendment is a reasonable regulation.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Darple. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Bridges?
Yes.
Commissioner Darkle?
Yes.
Commissioner DeAngelis?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunham?
Yes.
Commissioner Flynn?
Yes.
Commissioner France?
Yes.
Commissioner Heydrich?
Yes.
Commissioner Herman?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Wickman?
Yes.
Commissioner Baumgartner?
Yes.
Did I skip you?
Yes.
I did?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Skip? Is that a yes? Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Mayor, for being here.
I don't look
Appreciate
at it ever.
Okay,
They send
all
it to
right.
my- they send it to
Let's
my
see what else
phone.
we have on our list here. Reports from committees, executive. I see there's something on here. Anything on the budget cycle document?
Self-explanatory.
All right, nothing to discuss there. You have that handout in front of you, just the timing. We'll be working on our budget for the upcoming fiscal year. So, let's see, Direction 2030. Implementation?
We are in the in stages of getting a housing study to the commission, planning commission. We received a draft, we looked it over, we had some questions and some issues, some clarifications, we sent it back to the contractor. We have a meeting on Monday to look how those issues were incorporated, and so hopefully we'll get that to you soon. Just as we're going through this entire process, just a reminder that this housing study is not a directive. It's just some recommendations that if and when we do want to increase density, increase housing, they're just recommendations. So just kind of keep that in mind as we're moving forward with this process.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Subdivision review.
No meeting, nothing to report.
Z21.
Nothing to report.
General reports from commission members.
Just got going. I ran into Commissioner Bethel. He just wanted me to say hi to everybody and wish you all well.
That's great.
I got one comment.
Yeah. Commissioner
Can
Scott.
we, can the staff make some judgments on the agenda that we have these cities coming in with simple text amendments that take a matter of 10 minutes, and they have to sit here for 2-3 hours. And I know that, you know, on some of these, but we very seldom have a text amendment that's controversial.
So,
Can we flip it ourselves?
yes, we could make a motion, the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, which to your point, especially if it's, you've got a room full of people and they're gonna have to wait a long
Right.
time. Yeah,
I mean, the 2 text amendments tonight are,
yeah.
you know.
But the staff can't do it unilaterally,
What
so
do they-
bylaws
How
dictate.
is it as they come in, or?
I think
do we
that's the
have that
case,
set?
yes, as they're filed,
Well, I
right?
think as it's structured, in what order the requests are placed
And that's
on
in our
agenda.
bylaws?
I think it's in our bylaws.
It's definitely in the bylaws, we did it, because remember the 2 o'clock in the morning
Yep.
meetings?
But then we have the ability at the beginning of every meeting.
Yeah.
We know something's gonna take a long time just to vote.
We changed those, yeah. we did. But part of the problem is, you know, Greg, you're gonna come up and you get those text messages, one is, and all of a sudden you got, we're dealing, we get 4 people out and we got 100 people waiting for something. Do you want a room
Yeah,
full?
but,
I mean,
yeah,
I
but.
get it, but
wait a few minutes.
you don't
Yeah,
know.
but I think we can make a judgment of whether to make the recommendation or not, but you had the mayor and the city councilman sit here for 3 hours.
I know.
It was
Yeah.
pretty, like, 10 minutes, if that, you
Yeah.
know. so
But they were
I-
enthralled the whole time. The whole time. Yeah,
right.
First on the agenda, it takes an hour and a half.
Right,
Yeah.
we buzzed through that pretty quickly for them.
No, I agree with you, though. We should be able to make a judgment.
I have a comment, anyone else that comments, Commissioner Sutton?
And I just got one question. Is the app's no longer supported to see the monitors? Is that getting worse? Or is something
That's something
else?
we just learned today, so
Oh,
we
okay.
let county IT know and we'll go from there.
Thanks.
Okay. Where it scrolls, yeah.
Where you can
where
see
you
the
it
same
mirrored,
things on the screen on your laptop.
Yeah, and especially if the applicants got their stuff up too, that we'd be able to see that better.
Yeah, could you all see the video that he showed, or is it
I mean, that's just, all right, okay, gotcha. I have a comment, we received, I think it was sent to Andy, it was sent to the staff. If you all recall, we had, the Park Hills matter, the Z21, that also had a change in a zoning area. And the mayor was very upset. She referenced a comment that had been made in the committee, and the comment was made, I watched the video, she in her message wanted an apology. And so I watched the video, and if you recall, I mean, we all know that Z21, these come in, we kind of understand, we ask a few questions of why you pick certain choices, and then they get approved. And we've never had it where there's been, an effective kind of zone change beyond just the updated ordinance. And when it was first presented to the committee, multiple members of the committee were like, what's going on here, and kind of were concerned that perhaps the city was trying to sneak it in, right? And there was a comment made there that the mayor took offense to. I watched the committee meeting, and once they heard, from the mayor's perspective, that when the application was made, they understood from the developer that they had talked with all the surrounding property owners, and nobody had an issue with it. So they thought this is just going to be expedient to do it. And I even made the comment when we ultimately voted on it that it is not uncommon for us to get a text amendment in front of us, which is what's going on with the Z21, that they're cleaning up different things, along the way, and they're just trying to be efficient with it. And so, I want to say publicly again, there's not, and it wasn't until that meeting that really they understood that there was some upset neighbors with the proposal, and then the city pulled that piece out of it for the Z21. So anyway, I just, publicly, I told the mayor, that I would state publicly again that, we didn't see anything there that would suggest that Park Hills, the mayor, or their city council were trying to pull a fast one on anybody with that. So anyway, thought you should be aware of that given the request. Let's see, report from legal counsel.
Nothing to report?
Reports, announcement from staff.
Don't worry, you won't have to listen to me tonight. You all have your updated continuing education form in front of you this evening. It's going to look a lot different from what you typically get from us because of the changes that have occurred from state law. And to explain those changes a little bit more, I'd like to invite Ms. Bushman up here to go through and explain what you're looking at there.
No, we've never had this done before. It used to be negative and so confusing.
Hi, good evening. For the record, my name is Pamela Bushelman. I'm PDS staff for Planning and Zoning. What you have before you are your new, your biannual update that we send out. Those usually will come out at the end of either the, what did I do? I'm so sorry. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, they'll come out at right around the end of the first quarter, and then again around the end of the third quarter. And of course, if you turn in any training, you'll get an updated report back from me. One thing I'd like to point out is that they're pretty similar to what I've sent out in the past. Just wanted to point out, at the top, you'll have your jurisdiction, your name, and the date and the time of that report. So you'll always have a date to refer back to. Of course, that left side is your name and your appointment information. One thing that you're going to see that is different is here at the top. So now you're going to see two columns. You're going to see one column that's going to capture your planning credit hours, and one column that will capture that 1 hour housing credit that you have to take now. Now remember that you're only due every 4 years now and not every 2 years, okay? And new members, you have a 1 year deadline to get those first 3 hours of planning and 1 hour of housing in, which carry over to your 4 year requirement, okay? So the little cells that you see on these, if they're blacked out, it just means that it wasn't applicable to the KRS update. The blue and white, that's the training that you've submitted to me, and I put that on there so that you're able to see what training you've done. Some people don't remember from year to year. You can't submit the same training within the same reporting period, and that's why that's on there, just so you don't take it twice and not be able to use it. The gray, that's a reporting period that is either closed or complete. So once you get past that requirement deadline date, that period closes. Anything that you take after that cannot be deferred back. Anything that you take extra during a requirement period cannot be pulled forward. So if you're required to take 7 hours and you take 507 hours, it only stays in that reporting period. Next, so the peach line, that's the current 4-year requirement area. If those are peach, then that means you are due for something by that deadline. And then the blue would be your next 4-year reporting period if it were to come up. And then, like I mentioned, the new members with your 1-year requirement deadline. Just a couple things. Remember that you have to turn your any training into me within 30 days of attending it, watching it, reading it, participating, whatever you happen to be doing, within 30 days. I'll obviously be sending those back. And I think that's it. Any questions for me?
Just one. Thank you, Ms. Bushelman. This is a very simple, comprehensive form as opposed to, which I've argued for years, plus, minus, but your minus means you need a plus. It was so confusing. This is much better. Thank you.
All right, you're so welcome.
I would like to say thanks too, because I'm one of the people who's been on this a long time and can't remember what I've taken, so putting the names on here, I was like, yes! I now know what I've taken and what I don't have to take, so I appreciate it.
You're
Are
welcome.
you saying our treasurer can't deal with pluses and minuses?
Please strike that from the record.
Yeah. We're still in session.
All right.
That was good.
Thank you, Pamela. Appreciate it very much. All right, we have some general correspondence that was in your packet. A few items from the Boone County Planning Commission, one related to preservation plan, and a couple related to their comprehensive plan updates. We have a meeting safety and security update in your file. Take a look at. Any new business? Any public comments? Any public comments? No? Going once, going twice? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have first by Commissioner Darple, second by Commissioner Snyder. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?